Hello. Oh, hello. Can you? I was like, oh, the music is on. I don't mind music. You could, DJ for me, Nicole. What's up, guys? Oh, I forgot. I'm trying to do without the glasses during the live stream because, they're only blue blocker glasses, but I know that it gives you guys that fancy little glare. So, how you guys doing? I hope you're having a beautiful Friday Eve and that everyone is well. We're full on in fall here, so I've got long sleeve shirt on today. Is it nice and cool where you are today? I'm curious. And when you get in here, say hello. Comments are somewhere wherever you are. Pop a comment in. Let me know you're here. And today's question of the day is, what is your favorite fall activity? What is your favorite fall activity? And if you don't officially get fall where you are, what do you typically like to do in October, getting close to Halloween and all the things? Hi, Mohammed. Great to see you. I hope everything's going well. Belinda, hello. Good to see you again, friend. Second place screenshots. We will make sure we get that. Always just give us at least like a week and a half or something, because we've got other things happening, but I want to make sure we'll get it to you. So do not worry, we'll get that taken care of. And I'm getting the nods from the back room back there, so we should be able to get that taken care of. So thank you, Belinda. But I'm happy that you are back and hanging out with us today. When you guys get here, Osama, let me know what your favorite activity is. I'm going to just quickly say mine. You're so welcome, Belinda. Thank you for your patience, my dear, and for hanging out with us. My favorite activity in fall is getting outside where the leaves are changing. There's so much to see in the fall, especially in your place. If you are in a place that has the seasons and perhaps maybe at least one where things are kind of going into their little protective cocoon for the winter time. And here in Charlotte, or in like the North Carolina region, there's a lot of really great hiking trails and mountain ranges. And so lots to see if you're like a fall foliage person and out there. I forget what it's called. There's like a name for people who are like tracking the leaves. Forget what it's called, but if you're that person, you know what it is. I hope you are having fun this season. So let's see. Hi, Arlene. Welcome. Hello. Great to see you. All right. Yeah. Virginia, beautiful season too. I love it. Well, I love North Carolina more than Virginia now. I'm a Carolina girl now, but I was a Virginia girl. So, all right. So, hello. If you are new here, this is Medical Billers Network Live. We are on this space every Thursday right now. During the month, typically right now we've been running at 2 p.m. Eastern, so we'll call this our lunch and learns. If you are lunching and hanging out, doing hopefully a little pause in your day, I hope that you can do that while you're also listening to us and participating in the conversation, because today we are talking about the front end of the revenue cycle, specifically phone etiquette and office reception. So I'd love to hear your insight, the things that you have had, the horror stories, the lessons learned, all those things. If you have any, I'd love to hear it. Totally pop it in to the comments. Yes, in South Carolina too. Both Carolinas have amazing mountain ranges and great foliage, and the beaches are still, doing their beachy thing. So if you're feeling a really nice warm day, like we sometimes get here in Charlotte in the middle of October and sometimes even November, you could head out to the beach, which is why the Carolinas are kind of cool. So anyway, I'm done selling the Carolinas. I hope you guys buy what I'm selling. All right, so real quick, I'm going to do my little intro. So here we are talking video roundup. We this week are going over the ultimate guide to front desk etiquette. Right now we're specifically talking about phone etiquette. We'll go down that conversation to kind of think a little bit more deeply in other conversations, but today we are talking a lot more about, we'll say, verbal communication. All right, so last week was October trivia, and one of our winners is in the house. Belinda's right here, so Belinda can tell you all about it. And she's hung around and answered the questions, and she's gonna win some money, which is amazing. So if you have not done trivia with us, you get a chance to hang out with us on Kahoots, which is an app for trivia, live streaming trivia. And we are able to kind of answer these questions together. We get to see the podium at the end, and the first and second place individuals win a gift card to Amazon. So join us. That's always the first Thursday of the month. So the very first trivia of the month is a trivia for prizes. So a couple of weeks ago, we had what was kind of similar, like trivia but it's not exactly the same kind of contest because there isn't a contest exactly involved in it. So trivia is always that first. Sorry guys, I wrong button. I was trying to dismiss a notification and I clicked on it. All right, so here we go. So week before that was actually the thing I was just referring to, which was the Speak Like a Biller. It kind of had like a little bit of trivia vibes because we were kind of guessing language, but there was not a prize associated. Maybe we should make it like a little impromptu thing when we do the language discussions because it felt very trivia-like, and you guys were rock stars in both of those conversations, part 1 and part 2. So with that said, let's keep this party going. If you are brand new here, hello, this is Inlera University. In this space, we are committed to alleviating the stress and confusion in the business of healthcare through education, resources, community, all the things. So with that said, get connected to us on all the socials if you'd like. We are here on YouTube. You're probably either watching on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. So you can find us on the other places if you'd like to be on those other spaces as well. We're also on the grams and the tweets and the talks and all that stuff. So feel free to share with your friends. We're going to start being a lot more active on Instagram. If you are someone who likes Instagram, make sure you're following us so that you can stay connected, because we'll have some unique content specifically for Instagram. And then I'll just do a little plug here real quick about our Medical Billers Network Facebook group. In that group, lots of kind of a group only, we'll say, insights and shares. We have a really great community of folks in there. We also shared recently about our speed dating, we'll call it, basically trying to match people who are looking for jobs and those who are looking to hire individuals. So it's a really great space and a great place to get connected as a medical biller to folks who are in the community of medical billing and or leaders, owners of companies, things like that. So with that said, pop over and check out our links that they're popping into the chat there for you and get connected in those spaces. All right, so if you don't know who we are, Inlera, there's 2 parts to us. First part is revenue cycle or billing services. Next part is education. This right here, Inlera University, is a free platform for education. So we're on here on a regular basis. Everything that you find here on YouTube is completely free. So feel free to consume and scour through all of the different videos and playlists and things that we have out there, and get what you need and ask questions, because we engage in the comments as well, related to getting all the knowledge and the terms that you might need to help you feel comfortable, confident in the language of healthcare, and specifically the front end of the revenue cycle, the receptionist office. All right, so with that said, hello, how may I assist you today? We are going to dive right into our presentation. I'm going to quickly stop sharing this baby and talk really briefly to you guys about what we're chatting about today. So first thing to know is, why the heck do we even talk about reception if we are Medical Billers Network Live? Well, those of you who may be new to the field of medical billing or this business of healthcare may not be aware of the fact that in this industry, much of what we can do and how successful we can be is as a result of how effective and how successful our medical office receptionists are. So we care a lot about the folks that are up front, because when we're medical billers, we are managing the revenue cycle. The very first quarter of the revenue cycle majority of it is done by the front desk. And so the intake, the data capture from the patients, meaning like the information that you're getting, the verifying the insurance, the ensuring that the patient's routed back and that they're treated well, that they're scheduled for their next appointments, that they receive, the information for authorizations, that they have the referrals. All of that stuff are things that can make or break the success of a claim. So the revenue cycle is very, very reliant on the effectiveness of the office receptionist. So we care a lot about what they do and how well they work. So with that said, it's important as billers that we know what it means to be an effective medical office receptionist. Even if you are not necessarily interested in going into office reception, you should know what a receptionist does, what a what it means to be effective at that role, and how you can perhaps support those individuals by educating them, by just giving them a little bit of encouragement, and perhaps maybe some training to help them understand their job and the downstream impacts of what they do on a day-to-day basis. All right, so I hope that helps, and let me know if there's anything that pops in your mind right away during this initial parts of the conversation. Like, what do you think is the most important thing with regards to medical office receptionist? What have you had horror stories about working with a medical office receptionist that was ineffective, that has completely broken your revenue cycle? I'd love to hear about those stories. If you have chance you want to share here in the chat, or if you want to pop it into the Facebook group, you guys are always welcome to share your stories and insights in the Facebook group. We just big about it being very community supportive. So at the end of the story sharing, like, what are the big takeaways? What are the things that you want to see change? We're not just going to go out and rant. Maybe we could have a rant party one day, but the goal is that we are adding value to be able to improve the delivery of patients or patient care. So just ranting isn't going to help anybody. We got to find solutions after the rant. All right, my friends. So with that said, today we're going to talk about communication as a receptionist and as a medical office receptionist. And when you are in the receptionist role, there are different types of communication. We're primarily talking today about phone etiquette. So this is a relevant discussion for anybody, whether you're a front office receptionist, medical office receptionist, or even as a biller that is taking calls perhaps from your patients and supporting your team members internally as well. All right. So with that said, I am going to do a screen share today. My friends, whenever I screen share, I feel like you guys always get a little bit more quiet. So I'm going to invite you to chat away. I will promise to continue to look at the chat. I want to try to get through the different topics today, but I want to absolutely take your stories, your insights, and all of that along the way. All right. So with that said, let's talk about life as a receptionist. So first thing to know is that effective communication is critical. It is one of the most crucial parts of the role of a receptionist, because the way that the patient communicates, whether what they need, what they have as insurance, what their perhaps contact information is, all of those things are things, again, that impact our claims. So yes, we want them to treat our patients well. We want them to be very customer service oriented, to be able to retain those patients and support them as patients. However, really kind of like deeper layers for us is we just care that you are primarily effectively communicating, because when you are not, you have a way that you could absolutely put a wrench in our revenue cycle and completely jack up our claims. So effective communication is critical. Receptionists, if you did not know this, they spend about 90% of their time in this layer of communication. So communication is vital. There is communication in the office, right? There's communication by phone. There's all different layers of that, right? So let's talk about what exactly is communication. So communication is the act of transferring and exchanging information from one person or a group to another, or receiving them. Okay, I just read that in a weird way, but basically it's the way that we send and receive information between individuals. And the different ways that we can communicate are nonverbal, which is like through facial expressions, right? Those are things that maybe you might communicate by body language, right? Alone. Verbal, which is what we're talking about today. Written might be email, might be on a piece of paper that you have provided to your patient or your provider. And then there's visual. So visual support might look like something like you're providing to them, might look like something that you are recording for them in a video. It might look like something that you are sending to your patients that is a video for them to consume. So there's all kinds of layers of communication. We care today, or what we're talking about today, is about our verbal communication by phone. So let's talk briefly about ways that we can overall improve communication. And this really covers all types of communication, but if we're looking at the lens primarily through phone, let's think about this a little bit. So the first way that we can improve our communication is by effective listening. So truly listening to the patient while they are speaking, instead of immediately trying to formulate thoughts and response, which is what we all do. I'm guilty of this as well. Not always listening, just preparing to speak is not an effective way to communicate, because you might miss some very key elements. For example, if our patients are coming in and they are communicating something that's wrong with them, and along their story, you might be thinking, okay, I need to get this person scheduled for a new patient because you've heard that they have never been there before, and you're immediately trying to think about the questions you need to ask them because they're new. And in their explanation, they might have said that they had an injury at work. Very important piece of information, because this patient now has qualified themselves as a workers' compensation case. Very different than if a person's coming in and they are self-referring because they woke up with a bad back or woke up with a debilitating stomach pain 2 weeks ago and hasn't gone away, right? Totally different experience than if someone has a work injury or a car accident, something that there might be another party that's liable. So listening to your patient when they're speaking and explaining their why, their reason for calling, is vital. All right, so next is empathy. So when you have the ability to have this conversation, a two-way conversation with someone live, you get the opportunity to also show that you care. And that is putting yourself in the other person's shoes and understanding what they might be feeling, okay? So an example of that is those of us who are on the billing side have received a lot of questions around accounts and things like that, where a patient might be upset that they received a bill in the mail, right? Obviously, that's something that we are fielding, but keep in mind, a lot of the receptionists, even if you're in a separate billing department, a lot of the receptionists are first getting those angry calls and then they're routing them to you, right? So the very first thing that we want our receptionists to do is just empathize with a very simple statement of saying, I completely understand your frustration, right? If the patient's calling and they're angry, I've gotten this bill 3 times and I already paid it, and la, 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 all the things that might happen and might frustrate the patient. And now they're just kind of data dumping on you. You might right away just be like, okay, I'll transfer you to billing. Like, that has a way of immediately putting a rigidity between you and your patient. And that, again, can impact the revenue cycle, because as a result of that, your patient becomes less likely to pay you, because most people, unfortunately, do not care about medical debt that ends up on their credit report, because the majority of lenders out there actually are very, very compassionate to those situations, right? So and I should not say unfortunately, that sounded very awful. Actually, I should say fortunately they're compassionate. And so what happens is that if those folks have all these negative dings on their credit because of medical debt, they can often just write a letter and explain, here's what happened. And I tried to pay the bills, or, I physically had this situation take place and it, jolted my financial state. And so I've had to pay it in small amounts or whatever. They can really justify the bills. So a lot of the times you're going to have the patients that are they don't really care about paying your bill. Okay. Now, if they have taken the step to call you and ask questions about it, that is already a beautiful step in the right direction. And now we have an opportunity to actually receive compensation for this account, right? So if you make them mad and you're rude to them, they might just be like, yeah, these people are jerks. Not only am I never going back there again, but I'm also not going to pay them. And every time I get that bill, I'm taking it right to the garbage. So you might be hurting your opportunity for this account being resolved. Okay. So a little empathy can go a long way. And that really goes with everything. I hope you know that. Awareness. So your tone of voice matters more than you know. Everyone feels the difference when someone is just a little bit rude, even though they didn't really mean to be, right? They're just kind of short and abrasive and all the things, right? So you can tell when someone truly does not want to be helpful, even if they're saying all the right words. It could be the Chick-fil-A experience where they're like, my pleasure. And it's like, my pleasure. Like, you just feel it totally different, or they're like, my pleasure, like, have a great day, my pleasure. And there's a smile and there's this genuine personality versus someone who's like, my pleasure. Take the bag and get out of my face. Like, it's a totally different experience. All right. I love that people are forced to say my pleasure at Chick-fil-A just for that reason, because it really helps me understand, like, all right, you really don't like your job, and they really forced you to say that. I'm sorry. Have a great day. And so it's just fun. It's just fun and interesting to observe people in customer service that have to follow scripts. All right. So clarity, speaking with a very clear and calm voice is important. When you're talking to your patients, you have to understand the majority of our patients do not know what the heck goes on in a doctor's office when they're calling about their bill. It is frustrating when they're like, I paid you guys every visit. And sure enough, you look at the account, they paid $20 for their copay every visit. And then you look a little deeper and it turns out they didn't have a copay. They had a deductible that applied, that the insurance was applying for each of the claims. And now the patient is confused and upset. And you might see, oh, well, obviously you have a deductible. Like the patients are going to be like, what do you mean? What is that? What are you talking about? I don't have a deductible in my plan. I don't even know what that means. There are some people who don't know really what that means when you say it. And so if you aren't slowing down and allowing, even if the patient might have all the knowledge in the world about healthcare and medical billing, you still want to explain as concisely and as clearly as you possibly can. It's something simple as just inserting the definition in there. Oh, it looks like, as a matter of fact, I see your payments on your account. Thank you so much for making those payments every visit. But it looks like when we got the payment, the processing of this claim from the insurance, they actually said that they were going to require you pay a certain amount before they start paying. And that amount is called a deductible. So you can kind of insert the definition of the deductible in there without saying deductible first, because again, we have so much jargon. We've got all this random stuff that we like to throw around in healthcare that people are not hearing it on a day-to-day basis. So for them, deductible is foreign, or they've only thought about it when they talk about their car insurance, right? Because that's, I don't know why, the most common use of the word deductible, it feels like to us. In healthcare, we use it every day, and folks who are maybe not so astute or perhaps new to, insurance at all, completely new to insurance, they are going to be very confused when you throw those terms around. All right. So ways to improve that: listening empathetically, having a lot more awareness, and being as crystal clear as you possibly can. What other ways do you guys suggest that people can improve communication? If you want to pop something in the comments, let me know. All right, so today we're talking about that communication by phone. So a person has called. There are ways that you can show great customer service over the phone, right? You absolutely can be kind through your voice, and you can tell, right? Everybody, just like I gave in my example earlier, right? It's the shortness and the rigidity in your voice that can be sensed. They can sense the tension, right? So even if you just got done getting reamed, yelled at by your boss, if you decide to pick up the phone, and I'm going to say this, if you are not in a state to answer the phone, then you probably need to let it go to voicemail. That's the first thing. Or just ask your coworker if they can grab it really quick, take a bathroom break, something like that, right? Take a step back, and don't try to put yourself in a situation where you're having to pick up the phone, because what inevitably will happen is you will transfer all of your pent up frustration from that conversation that you just had, or that, negative energy that you just received. You're going to put that all on the patient, and whatever they're saying is going to feel wrong no matter what, right? And we all experienced this, where we intentionally transfer our energy to this other conversation, right? We're just like, I'm going to explode on you because you're here in my face at the moment, and the other person just walked away. All right. So it's really important that do not take the call if you know that you are not in a state to be helpful, to be supportive, to be genuine and kind. All right. So if you choose to pick up the phone, you are prepared to do these 3 things. You're going to smile when you pick up the phone. Very simple way to show that you are being helpful. Just picking up the phone and smiling. Good afternoon. This is Jasmine speaking. How can I help you? You can feel the difference. Good afternoon, Jasmine speaking. How can I help you? Very different. My voice has to change, actually. When I smile, my voice naturally changes, okay? So it can absolutely change the trajectory of the way that you interact with them. You can maybe immediately allow them to put their guards down, because if you are nice or kind, most people, it's hard for them to be complete and total jerks to you. And I'm not going to say everybody, but most people, it's hard for them to be complete and total jerks. Now, they might still be a little bit upset and wound up. And, I am a firm believer of, you absolutely can kill them with kindness. You can just be nice. You don't have to take on their ickiness and their nastiness. You don't have to take it on. You don't. And if you take it on, know that it's going to mess up the rest of your day. So choose to pick up the phone and be kind, and basically put on your little barrier. You're like, whatever you might be, wanting to force into my day, I'm not going to take it on. I'm going to try my best to help you, and I want to be as helpful as possible. And if you're upset, we're going to still try to work through this together. All right. And I love this. Have suggestions about managing people. This is a great question. So we'll briefly talk about this, and I'd love to hear what other people have to say about that as well. So you're smiling. The next thing is you're going to be polite. You're giving them whatever that professional required greeting is for your clinic, and giving them at least some kind of understanding of, who you are. So if you have to say the business name, I ideally recommend that you say your name, because it makes you a human. Like we're humans and it's nice to have a human. We all appreciate when we get a human on the phone instead of a robot, right? We all love that. So give yourself a name, like make yourself known. Like, this is welcome. Thank you for calling X, whatever the required greeting is for your business. And so speaking, Jasmine speaking, how can I help? Really just being very clear about, hey, I'm here, I'm at this business, and I'm a human, and this is my name. And actually have that conversation begin in that way. And you can say things like, who do I have the pleasure to speak with? Who do I have the pleasure to speak with? Well, that's not the way that I want to say that, but whom do I have the pleasure to speak with? That's the word. Whom do I have the pleasure to speak with, if you like, if that feels natural. I would choose to say statements that feel really natural to you, or that you can start to allow to feel natural to you. So if my pleasure, for example, if Chick-fil-A statement doesn't feel natural to you, don't use it. You can say something like, happy to help. You're so welcome. Like, whatever feels natural to you, those are the things that you want to say. So when you are asking for the person's name, that is a good way to immediately start to establish some rapport, right? You're trying to get a sense of like, okay, I'm human. My name's Jasmine. What's your name, right? So you're kind of opening that door and trying to find that opportunity to connect with them as individuals, okay? Next, you need to wait for them to ask and wait. So here's the thing. This kind of goes to the conversation that I don't know who it came across as Facebook user, but the last question that just came up about ways to put them on hold. If you absolutely cannot speak to them in that moment, you need to let them know, and you need to wait for their acknowledgement. You got to say it as clearly as possible, because sometimes, we've all had that call where you pick up and you're like, and you're like, I'm sorry. You're like, then they just put you on hold. Like, I don't even know what happened. Did they hang up on me? I don't what did they say? Right? You have to be able to allow for your introduction to come in. You say, I apologize. May I place you on a brief hold? And don't even need to explain. You can just say, may I place you on a brief hold, if that's necessary. And you need to wait for them to actually acknowledge. So do not try to data dump too much on them. You're like, I need to place you on a brief hold because I got this patient in front of me and I need to finish tending to this right now. Like, nobody really cares about why you need to put them on hold. And you just need to let them know that you're about to put them on hold, and wait for them to acknowledge that you're going to put them on hold, because no one likes that immediate, like, hold please, and then you place them on hold. No one likes that. It is the rudest way to interact with someone by phone. It's, immediately like you just got the phone and you pretty much like hung up, like, like you didn't even give me a chance to say, I really just need to talk to so-and-so. Like, because sometimes that's what it is. It's like, oh, I really don't even need you to put me on hold. I just needed your fax number. Like, you might have enough of a moment to say, Oh, you know what? I just need to be transferred to this number. Oh, you know what? I didn't mean to call this business. Like they could have been on hold and you realize that you're not even in the right place, right? So yes, wait for permission. When you're putting them on hold, if your system doesn't have some sort of hold music, or some way to let them know that they're on hold and you have to continue have them holding for a long period of time, it is just polite to pick the phone back up and ask them, I'm so sorry, it's taking a lot longer than I expected, and I don't want to leave you on hold. Can I take your phone number down and return your call? It's just polite. No one wants to sit on hold for 5 minutes, right? Again, what ends up happening inevitably is you get them back on the line and now you have stirred the pot and everything is boiling over and they're about to throw it right at you and they are upset, right? So you have now caused something very simple to go to something, to escalate to something a little bit more icky when it doesn't need to, right? If you have the option to take the message and you have the time to take the message, take the message. Take the message. Don't put them on hold. Nobody wants to be put on hold. No one does. All right. So that's one thing I absolutely would suggest. So I like this. Yeah. Thank them for being patient. Yes. And it's frustrating, Farah. Yes, it's so true. You absolutely should thank them for their patience. And if you've put them on hold, definitely when you pick up the phone, even if you don't even know how long you have them on hold, it might have been 30 seconds, right? You can still say, thank you so much for your patience. I apologize. Or thank you so much for your patience. You don't need to apologize. Sometimes we over apologize, right? You can just say, thank you for your patience. Thank you so much for holding. I appreciate you for holding. Whatever feels natural, find the words that work for you. Use them regularly, okay? And I like this, what Osama said here, less is more. Less is more. This is so true. We don't need to give too much information. When someone is calling, and that same thing goes for the greeting. If your job doesn't require you to say the full company name, don't say it. Nothing bothers me more than when a practice name is super long and then you also want to say your name and you're like 20 minutes saying, thank you for calling the Wellness and Health Collective of Charlotte. You're like, thank you for calling the Wellness and Health Collective of Charlotte. My name is Jasmine. Like, what did you just say? I don't even know what you just said because you said it so fast and you didn't really want to say it because you were just going to put me on hold anyway, right? So you might want to find a way to get confirmation, whether or not you have to say the full doctor's office name, or perhaps you're just saying, thanks for calling the wellness clinic, or something quick. Thank you for calling the doctor's office. So-and-so speaking, whatever your organization allows you to do to try to shrink it down so that you don't data dump a bunch of random information that most people are not even paying attention to. I like this. It can be challenging if a patient says no and they proceed with their issue. That is so true, Arlene. That has happened. And, you have to sometimes help people understand. I really want to help you, Miss Jones. I appreciate your call. But in this moment, I cannot help you because I don't have that system open, or I can't help you. So just give me a few moments to just get this gap, wrap up this thing or whatever it is, right? You just being honest. As a matter of fact, very recently, this morning, I got this situation, someone called, wanted to ask some questions specifically about their account. And I'm actually my system is running a report at this very moment that's going to take another 15 minutes to run. So I actually cannot open your account. So I don't want you to wait, to kind of invest your time explaining it to me, to have to re-explain it to me. So, just be super honest. It doesn't have to be, oh my gosh, can you just wait? You don't have to kind of let it become frustrating as well. Just be so clear. It doesn't be like, hey, listen, I really want to help you. However, I can't because I don't have access to that system right in this very moment. But I promise if you give me 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever realistic time frame, be realistic. If it's an hour, let it be an hour. I can call you right back and I'll have your account open. If you want to go ahead and give me the account number now, I'll take a look at it and give you a call right back, right? You just have to sometimes walk people back off the ledge because sometimes they're just ready to attack you. So, all right, let's see here. Yeah, Nicole said I wish I could put your chat in the thing. Nicole said this is the worst part at the vet. Someone comes in with an emergency and some people want to complain about their late appointment. Yeah, that's true. You're like, we have this emergency situation that's come up, so I need to tend to this, patient who's bleeding all over our waiting room. Like it sounds to me, but it's like, sometimes it's that real, sometimes it's that real. So, all righty. I love it. This is great. So here's just a quick example of ways that you might be able to answer the phone. So good afternoon. Thank you for calling. This is so-and-so, Jasmine speaking. How may I help you? And perhaps they're looking to speak with the doctor. Dr. So-and-so is not available at the moment. May I assist you or take a message? And it's a patient calling about it. And so this does happen, right? Sometimes our patients are like really gung-ho. They want to talk directly to the doctor, just like, barging into the day. They're like, I'm sorry, so-and-so's not available. Dr. So-and-so can't, would love to help you. Can I go ahead and take a message? And I'll make sure it gets over to them. And you find out it's about a prescription. Obviously, you can help this patient. You don't need to speak to the provider. I'm happy to help you get an update on your prescription. May have your date of birth so I can access your chart, right? So you are trying to kind of button up the conversation. They don't even need to talk to the doctor anymore. And they didn't know that. You're going to take it right from this moment of taking a voicemail to actually solving that problem. All right. So that's the goal here, is even if you're in the billing department, you happen to pick up the call because you're just a part of that ring group, see if you can help, right? Because it might be something that you absolutely can help with. They might have called the scheduling line, but really, sorry, I'm drinking, by the way, to advertise for Trader Joe's. This is not sponsored video. This is Starfruit sparkling water from Trader Joe's, and it's the Starfruit flavor. It's delicious, in case you're interested. All right, so back to what I was saying was that if you know that you can support this patient, or there's a chance that you can support him from the billing department, do it. Like if they're calling about, they call the scheduling line, but really what they're calling about is some issue with a referral or something that that they received in the mail from their insurance, right? Sometimes that happens. People get routed to the wrong area, or they have clicked a button because they didn't hear the options. I'm guilty of doing that. I'm like, I think if I hit 9, that'll do the menu all over again. And here I am talking to somebody that I didn't know I was going to get when I hit that number. So let's check these comments. So like that. Very professional. Wow. Thank you. It's funny. That's funny. It's so funny how similar people in animal medicine can be. It's so true. I mean, because we're dealing with the humans, right? That's the main source, right? The animals are being supported. It's like a parent coming in with their baby. Same kind of concept, They're like, they brought their baby in. The baby can't talk, so the parent is doing all the talking for the baby, right? So, yeah. Hey, Trader Joe's, we will take your sponsorship if you want to send us these seltzer waters. Okay, we love them. I love that. All right. Let's see. I think I might be getting close. So, okay, yeah. So it's all about confidence. So, and this is true, right? So even if you do not know how to help, okay, you may not have any idea how to help this person because it's your second day. You may not have any idea how to do something that maybe someone who's in a receptionist role should be able to do. You can absolutely still be confident about your ability to find the answer for them, all right? And the way that you do that, you don't have to be like, oh, it's only my second day. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, you can say, oh, I completely understand your issue. Listen, I am going to speak with my colleague and get this answer to this question for you right away. Like, you can absolutely communicate that. All right. So here's the importance of confidence. So you are the absolute face and voice of the practice. When you're in the receptionist, you are the person. You are the practice. You're that representative in the world. Whether it's a patient calling, another clinic calling, the insurance calling, right? Everyone is going to identify that practice with you because you are answering the phone. So it's important that you are communicating this air of confidence, right? This sense of like, we are here to help, okay? And you can do that with that confident smile, right? You can do that by giving your reassurance to the people who are visiting, whether it's there in office, whether it's over the phone. And then what we talked about earlier, what Nicole just brought up, excuse me, so sorry, is that you sometimes are going to have emergency situations, things that come up where your patients are kind of everything else going to put on hold because the individual, the thing that is in front of you in this moment is absolutely the top priority. So you need to be reassured that you need to be able to reassure others that you are able to help. However, that this is an absolute emergency that you need to take care of. And there's still a way to communicate this, to be confident in the way that you are delivering this update so that people can feel a sense of reassurance that you are there and you're there to help, despite the fire that's in front of you at the moment. You are there to help, and you're going to help to find a solution to whatever problem, question, issue that they have. So yes, Graham, we're voting for that. Let's make sure we get that Trader Joe's sponsorship. Let's say it one more time. Trader Joe's seltzer water. I'm sure that the algorithm is throwing this out into the world somewhere. So they're always listening, as they say. So I like this. Yes. The first day on the phones by yourself is always the worst day. Oh my gosh. That is so real. That is so real. It is the hardest day, because you feel like, you're like kind of like standing there naked in the room, like, oh my God, everyone sees me, that I'm embarrassed. I'm a combination of like, unsure, uneasy. We all feel it. Doesn't matter what industry that you're in. Even if you've been at the practice for a while and everything, everything there is to know about managing the practice. If someone starts saying, hey, Jasmine, do you think that you could start answering phones? Your heart will sink. And that's okay. You'll be like, okay, this is a lot. Yes, sure, I think. We all do that. We all have that uneasy feeling when you first have to kind of put yourself out there. And so you can be real with that too. Like if, you really are faced with a very hard situation over the phone, you can be so authentic and not punting, right? Not like, I don't know, it's just my second day, I don't know. You're like, listen, it's my second day. I still want to help because I want to learn how to help you. But it's my second day. Like, you can be real. If that feels authentic to you and you feel like you want to bring the person into your reality, your story, because we've all had that. Like, we've all had that real experience. So sometimes just being like, hey, I want to help you. I need to know how to help you because I'm new here and I really want to help. So give me a minute. Let me see what I can do. Like, you can be that person, right? You can be that person that's so honest. This is true. Graham, you're the bomb. Yes, medical billers, we love shopping at Trader Joe's, and that is a fact. If you have a Trader Joe's next to you, I suggest you go to Trader Joe's, get your shop on. I do love Trader Joe's, I really do. All right, so here's how we can build our confidence. So first things first is get the training. Get the training, and whether that's training in hard skills, which is that next bullet there, that's like the technical stuff, right? On the job stuff, right? Things like software training, for example, like you're new to this practice, you don't know how to navigate the scheduling platform, and you are the one responsible for scheduling. You need to get the training so that you can do the best within your role. I don't know what I was going to say there. That was funny. It's fun when the words go just trail off in your head. You can do a great job. You want to be able to do a great job. And so knowing the software will help you feel that solid foundation in your role if you feel like you know where the heck to go when you need to go there, right? Nothing worse than you trying to get this thing taken care of because you got 3 patients in front of you, especially as a front desk person. Sometimes this happens. You got people that are ready to check in, the phone's ringing over here, and you're like this octopus with your arms and all these other things. Someone is about to check out over there, and your checkout person's in the restroom. You've got all these things happening while you're also trying to schedule this person, and you cannot remember how to get to the recurring calendar, right? Or I don't know, I'm just throwing something right out there, right? Like where you want to schedule them for like 3 visits on the same day for the next, couple of months or whatever, right? Like you need to be able to do these things quickly. So building your confidence in those skills, how to navigate the software is going to do nothing but help you. All right. Soft skills. So soft skills are things like stuff we're talking about today, effective communication, being dependable, right? It's like, these are muscles, right? You have to work these muscles, right? Sometimes they can go dormant. If we've been students for a while and we haven't had to, students, let's say college students, because there's a lot more independence and autonomy as a college student. Like we have responsibilities. Yes, we have expectations. We have repercussions for not doing our work, but it's a lot more autonomy as a college student, right? You don't they're not going to call you and like stress you for like not showing up for class. They don't really care. You paid the bill. Like, they're like, whatever, you do whatever you want, right? Until you get the transcript or you get your final grade, whatever, and your parents are, kind of down your throat, right? That dependability matters at that point, right? You being someone who is showing up to class, you being someone who is doing the work that's necessary, right? Those are all things that maybe your muscle is a little weak because perhaps you had a really great time in college and didn't really do a lot of work. Well, it happens, right? It's important that you realize that you might have to develop those skills. You might have to start to study things like, what does it mean to have to be organized? What does it mean to have time management, to have to be effectively communicating what we're talking about today, for example, right? What does that mean? What does it mean to be a team player, to actually find yourself collaborating effectively, right? These are all things that you probably, if you have not had experience or you've been, someone maybe in a role that has not, I don't say role, like a stay-at-home parent, right? If you've been a stay-at-home parent for a while and you're just getting back into the workforce, they're just muscles that you need to work, okay? All right, so staying focused, like you need to be present, 100% present in what you are doing on this job. You need to be as present as possible. That's like, if you're a social media fiend, you got your phone out all the time, put that sucker away. Like, you need to stay present in this moment because it's going to help you be more successful in the long run, okay? Start to learn what your strengths and your weaknesses are. If you know that that you have a problem with the phone, would be a weakness potentially. You're addicted to social media. Maybe you have some lockout time. I don't even know what these things are called on the iPhone, but maybe you block like a schedule thing where you're not allowed to go to the social media apps or whatever during this little window of time, right? You have to learn to deal with yourself lovingly by giving yourself boundaries, right? Boundaries around the things that don't serve you and your goals, right? If your goal is to be successful in this position, in this role, then you're going to want to honor that, okay? Next thing is to challenge yourself, right? So really trying to do the hard things, do the things that you're like, I never want to pick up the phone. Do it. Do the phone for a while, even if it's not really your primary role. Be like, hey, I just want to be able to feel more comfortable in this practice and serving our patients in the billing department. Is it possible that I could answer the phones for half a day just so I can get experience with that, right? Be honest, be real, let your boss know. They would, there's no one in a leadership position who's going to be like, no, you can't do more. That's awful. Why would you ask that? All right. Next thing is have belief in yourself, right? Really believe that you are capable. That's the first thing, is like, you've got to see yourself successful. You've got to see that it's even possible for you to be successful. And that goes for everything that we do, right? You first have to know that it is possible, and then the rest can happen. All right. And here's a problem for so many of us, is asking for help. You got to ask for help. You need to be able to say, hey, I don't know how to do this. Can you show me? Like, there's so many of us that have this ego that is just way bigger than we are. And it's like, I'm just going to learn it on my own and I'm going to suffer through it all. Like, just be honest. Like, you know what? They didn't do this in my old office. Like, I've never seen this before. Do you think you could show me how to do this? Could we spend like part of a morning, or can I buy you a coffee? Like, something simple as like, hey, can I get you your favorite Starbucks and you could show me this to your coworker who may be, in competition with you for that next hire, that next promotion, right? That's the easy way for them to put their guards down and be like, okay, this person genuinely just wants my help. Like, you can just kill them with that little bit of extra kindness. All right. Ask for feedback from your bosses, from your leaders, and learn from the feedback. Do not ask them for feedback for someone to toot your horn and you just walk away with a smile on your face. Like, be honest. Be okay with getting feedback, versus receiving feedback, and allow this to be a stepping stone, a tool for you to get better. So you have to be willing to receive the feedback. That, first of all, do not be the person who asks for the feedback and then is like, completely like hurt by honest feedback. You're late every day. You're like, well, I'm not late. So-and-so's late all the time. And like, all of a sudden you're like throwing other people under the bus. Like, Oh my goodness. You know what? You're right. I recognize that. Like, I have been a couple of minutes late. Have you noticed, or like ask, you're like, oh, you know what? I didn't realize I'm coming in late. What time did you say I was supposed to be here? And they're like, oh, you're supposed to be here at 9 a.m. Oh my God. I thought I was supposed to be here at 9:30. Like, maybe you just found something that you've miscommunicated on, right? All right. So be real with your bosses and allow a boss. I hate that word bosses, by the way. I just told Nicole the other day, we were having this conversation. I don't know why the word boss like makes me very uncomfortable. Might be from those shows that they had out there. I don't know, the undercover bosses. I'm not sure. I just don't like that word. I feel like it's just one of those words that I just don't like. But your supervisors, your managers, right? The leaders in your organization are there. Hopefully they are there to support you, and they want you to be successful, right? They want you to stay because you are the engine. You are the things that keep this business, this practice running. So it's very, very important that you recognize that their feedback is valuable. They are the ones who possibly sign your paycheck, right? Or the ones who make sure that you get that paycheck. So you want to get feedback from them to know what it means to be successful. So I like this. Okay, here we go, my friends. Mohammed says, is it responsible to collect the patient's insurance at the front desk? Yeah. Yes. It is absolutely something that needs to be done. We will talk about this. We have a whole different, this is primarily about the phone, but yes, when you are checking in your patients, you need to receive a copy of their insurance information. And I recommend this happens every visit for non-therapy practices. So like if you are a therapy practice and your patients come in once, twice, 3 times a week, right? You are not gonna just drive yourself mad trying to get their insurance card every week, right? You might have a schedule that's more like maybe once a month you ask for their information just to confirm it, just take a glance at it, right? And part of that is like if their insurance gets updated or there's something that perhaps changes on an infrequent or periodic basis, you at least have eyes on it, and you might just look at it, match it with what you have, and give it right back to them, right? You don't always have to take a copy of it when you're in that type of practice. But if you are in a practice that is seeing your patients on an infrequent basis, maybe once every 3 months, once every 6 months, you must take a copy of their insurance card. Please get a copy. Get a copy. Yes. And this is why I was talking about the copy thing, because Mohammed's next part to his question there. So great question, Mohammed. If you guys have other questions, please let me know in comments and additions. I want to know what else is there? What else is there in your minds that we know needs to be done as a receptionist by phone? What did I miss? Did I miss anything that we want to cover? While I take my sip of my Trader Joe's sparkling water. It's so yummy. Oh, I just had the cranberry. There's a cranberry clementine one too. So good. The starfruit one is my current favorite, but there's the cranberry clementine is a seasonal as well. Delicious. No other comments? No other questions? I love it. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this thing. Okay, my friends. So I will show you the logo once more. Trader Joe's sparkling water. All right, I beat that. Listen, we are here every Thursday. This conversation, we talked about the front end of the revenue cycle. I want to know what other things you guys want to hear about. You can always let us know in the comments. We are always looking at the comments on a regular basis. This whole month, we're talking a lot more around the front end of the revenue cycle, but I'm always willing to insert things, especially when I feel like there's this need for us to have a very relevant conversation considering whatever might be happening in the world of healthcare. So feel free to always plug that in the comments. And until next Thursday, my friends, have a beautiful rest of your day.